Are congratulations in order? What's going on? Am I gonna be an auntie? Come on.
What? 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 Tell me this is some kind of sick joke. This can't be real, right?
I didn't think I would be making a baby. Like, that's nuts. Last week, Violet texted me and told me that she's pregnant. It's mine.
Holy sh**. Wow. I'm shocked, and frankly, I'm appalled. But before we dive into this news, let's start at the beginning. So we left the pair in the last episode as Riley was headed home from Vietnam. But you could tell that something wasn't right. Violet was acting cold and distant the entire morning. She barely gave him a hug goodbye. So now that Riley's back in the States, now that some time has gone by, where exactly does their relationship stand?
I've been home from Vietnam a couple of weeks now, but after I returned home, I got some very nasty text messages from Violet saying it's over and she doesn't want anything to do with me anymore.
I mean, that doesn't really come as a surprise, right? Riley sensed that that was probably what was going to happen. Everything about the way that Violet was acting that day implied that this would be the last time they were seeing each other. And it's probably for the best. They have nothing in common. They argued more than they enjoyed each other's company. So did Riley block her as requested? Did he move on with his life? Well, not exactly. Because he reveals that a few days later, she got back in touch to say,
She wrote, "I'm sorry I hurt you. We could be together. I really want a husband in the family." She's acting like super nice.
One minute she's saying it's over, the next she's texting him to say she wants to marry him. She's so hot and cold. It's no real wonder that Riley's totally confused. And it just feels very manipulative from Violet. If she's not into him, just cut him loose, let him go. Why does she keep going back to him? More than that, why does she keep dangling this carrot of marriage, of one big happy family? It feels like she's using that to manipulate him. But the question is, what does she want? What's her end game here? Well, when we catch up with Riley a few weeks later, he reveals some news that's about to change everything.
Last week, Violet texted me and she told me that she's pregnant. And the baby is mine.
Oh my gosh. Riley's face is one of pure panic. And who can blame him? This is shocking news. We never even saw Riley and Violet so much as kiss. So the fact that they've been intimate feels like it's come out of nowhere. Don't forget, Violet had even told him on day one that she wouldn't be sleeping with him. It was inappropriate.
She explained in her culture that sleeping with a man that she's not married to is inappropriate. I can definitely respect that, but if she knocks on the door, I'm going to open it.
Well, I guess she must have come a-knocking. And I guess they didn't protect themselves. Because now there's an innocent baby in the mix. But he must be thinking what we all are. Is it even his? Well, we'll get to that shortly. But for now, Riley has gone to his friend Tiffany's house to talk about this situation. And the look on her face says it all. How could Riley have been so stupid?
The night before I left, she came to me. I was in my hotel room, minding my business, and she came back on her own.
Ah, okay, so it happened once. It happened on their last night together, after their dessert date. That was a night that they both promised each other that they'd put in the effort to make sure their relationship works. And they clearly took that responsibility to heart. They clearly put in some effort that night.
She's 5'2", I'm 6'4". It was a lot of fun.
But while Riley looks back on that evening with fondness, the same can't be said for Violet. You see, the next morning, that was when she arrived and began acting really weird and cold. But her actions make a bit more sense now, don't they? She probably had buyer's remorse. She probably regretted sleeping with him the night before. So Tiffany asks the question that's on all of our minds.
Did you use something?
No, I didn't take anything because that
When
wasn't...
I told you to take something, I said make sure you pack.
You know what? I didn't really like Tiffany at first, but she's really growing on me. She's not afraid to tell him straight. What on earth were you thinking? You were warned. And why are you laughing right now? Like, is this just nervous laughter from Riley? Or does he actually think this is a bit of a joke? Well, the whole scenario is pretty crazy. But what Riley says next just tips it over the edge.
Because of the medication I am on, it's a less than 1% chance. Being that I'm on this medication, less than 1% chance that I can conceive.
What? The plot thickens. Does Riley have super sperm or something? I mean, it's crazy. So he has a 1% chance of conceiving, and she's 43 years old. I mean, her odds of conceiving are lower too. Yet they slept together once, and that one time resulted in a pregnancy. Is it impossible? No, of course not. It could have happened. But are the odds slim? Very, very, very slim? Yes. So naturally, you can't blame him for this. Naturally, he's got to be wondering whether A, the baby doesn't exist, or B, has Violet been unfaithful? Now, let's give her the benefit of the doubt insofar as she hasn't made this up. Let's say she is pregnant, right? It's going to be pretty obvious as soon as a baby enters the world whether or not Riley's the father. I mean, he doesn't exactly look like your average Vietnamese man, does he?
So I don't know if she's actually pregnant, or maybe she is, and it's not mine. Yeah, I don't put anything past her. But I don't want to be wrong and be a piece of crap.
I get it. Those are some very serious accusations. But this is Violet that we're talking about. You just can't rule it out. All along we've been saying that she does seem like she's hiding something. Maybe Riley's gut instinct was right all along. Maybe that shirtless selfie man was more than just a friend. But either way, as he says, just in case, Riley explains to Tiffany that he did his research and he found a really good English-speaking doctor for Violet. He wanted her to go for a consultation that he'd pay for, and just have him on the call so that he could follow along. But Violet refused.
I will pay for everything for your care.
Right.
But go to this doctor. And she wouldn't do it.
Ooh.
She said, no, I have my own doctor.
So could there be a good reason why Violet doesn't want to go to a doctor that can communicate clearly with Riley? I don't know. I'm struggling to think of reasons. Perhaps if she was determined to cut Riley out of her life and have nothing to do with him, then maybe under that frame of mind, that action might make a bit more sense. Not that that's right, you understand. But if she wants to play happy families, then why is that such a big ask from Riley? Given Riley's suspicious nature, it's not a surprise that he's highly dubious right now. And just as the icing on the cake, things get even more suspicious when Riley reveals Violet never even wants to talk about the pregnancy.
We're never talking about the pregnancy.
Right.
And she comes out of nowhere and is like, why don't you just ask me to marry you already?
Oh gosh, so many red flags. I mean, between the timing, the emotional yo-yoing, the secretive nature, the doctor, Riley's 1% chance of conceiving, and now all of a sudden there's also a push to get married. It's also suspicious. But the question remains, what is Violet's end goal? What does she want?
I don't think it was green card citizen thing. My time there was so difficult with her. Communications, and I was just like, it's no way.
So Riley actually makes a good point here. He says that if Violet just wanted a green card, she would have probably put on more of an act while he was in Vietnam. They wouldn't have argued as much. She would have actively been trying to make him think everything was great. But that wasn't what happened. In fact, she was the one that ended it. So that still leaves us none the wiser.
Based on the history of my relationship with Violet, I don't even really know for sure if I was the only man she was seeing.
There are just so many unknowns, and trying to get a clear answer from Violet is like trying to squeeze blood out of a stone. The emotional roller coaster, the uncertainty of all of this is clearly taking a toll on Riley. And when Tiffany asks if he's okay, he starts to tear up and needs a hug. He's still attached to Violet. It was only a few weeks ago that he was ready to tell her that he loved her. But does he believe her? Does he really think that he's the father?
All I know is I need a DNA test to prove paternity, and if Violet is pregnant with my child, obviously I'm going to do the right thing.
If it turns out that I'm the father, says Riley, then I will do everything that I need to do to make sure I'm in my child's life. And it's good to hear him say that. The child is innocent in all of this. They deserve to have their dad in the picture. But is Riley their dad? And where exactly is that picture? Vietnam or in America? Just like their relationship, this is just so messy.